皆さんこんにちは、カイルです。今日はアメリカの公聴会を見てみましょう。今回質問を行っているのは共和党のオハイオ州のモレノ上院議員です。彼の前に座り終始沈黙を守っている証人は、新型コロナのパンデミック期間中にアメリカの感染対策を率いたアンソニー・ファウチ博士です。一緒に見ていきましょう。
Clearly, what you think today is that somehow you're above reproach. Somehow you feel like you don't need to be treated like a normal American. Can you do me a favor in the audience and stand up if during the time of the COVID pandemic you were called a racist for calling the virus a Wuhan virus or the China virus? If you thought the 6-foot rule was total crap, if you thought the vaccine wasn't something that you should take, if you thought it was outrageous the way the mask policy was rolled out, if you were fired from your job for not taking that vaccine, including members of the military, if you thought closing schools was catastrophically stupid, and that you thought that during these times saying these things made you somehow a lesser human being.
モレノ議員は冒頭から火力全開でした。あなたは今、自分はいかなる事態に対しても責任を負う必要がないと考えているようだ。まるで一般のアメリカ人とは異なる特別な待遇を受けるべきだと言わんばかりだ、と述べました。続いて、彼は場内の傍聴者たちに起立するよう求めました。
Dr. Fauci, can you just turn around and look at the people behind you? You're not willing to do that? That's not a question. It's not a question. To your lawyer, it's not a question. It's a request. All you have to do is look up from your lawyers and look at the people who were absolutely shamed for saying what we know now to be the truth. You can't even look at them? That's a question. Are you able to look at them? You can sit down in the audience. There was a mom in Ohio during the depth of the coronavirus pandemic.
ファウチ博士は自身の感染対策によって被害を受けたと感じている傍聴者たちを直視することすらできませんでした。その後、モレノ議員はある家族のエピソードを語り始めました。
Decided to go to her high school football game for her son. They hadn't been out much. The kids had been learning at school, and then the school got shut down. They hadn't really gotten much out of that education, as any parent knew that remote learning was no learning at all. But it was a Friday night. Her son wanted to go watch a buddy go play football. So they went to the stadium. They sat alone, far from everybody else, just a mom, a dad, a few kids. They didn't feel they needed to wear masks because it was stupid, because they were outside. They all live together. They're not near anybody.
ロックダウンが最も厳しかった時期、子供はずっと家に閉じこもり、学校にも行けなかったため、友達の試合を見に行きたいと望み、家族全員でアメリカンフットボールのスタジアムへ向かいました。彼らは人混みを避け、家族だけで一緒に座っていました。屋外であり、もともと同一世帯で暮らしているため、マスクは着用していませんでした。ファウチ博士はどう答えるでしょうか。
Dr. Fauci, do you know what happened to that mom and that family? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
They were dragged out of that stadium and arrested. Those policies were put in place because you had moronic politicians that listened to the words of a megalomaniac who was more interested in having met a Kardashian than the suffering of the American people, and that is you. your advice to communities like that, to idiotic politicians who enforce those rules, arrested that mom for watching a football game with her own family outside.
ファウチ博士の答えは今回も変わりませんでした。モレノ議員はその沈黙に最後のとどめを刺すかのように語りました。その家族は最終的にスタジアムから連れ出され、逮捕されたのです。衝撃的な結末でした。
When that story broke, I said to myself, I cannot stand idly on the side and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the fuck do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people.
モレノ議員はこの出来事を知って傍観しているわけにはいかないと感じ、自身のビジネスをすべて手放して上院議員選挙に出馬することを決意したと明かしました。モレノ議員は2度目の出馬時にトランプ氏の支持を得て、最終的に上院議員に当選しました。
I will make it my mission to make certain that every single one of those Democrats who did that will see that clip over and over and over again. Because there is no defense of what you did. You may have had a 50-plus year legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace. So let me ask you an opportunity to answer one question. Will you apologize, just apologize, to the people who you harmed through your actions? Will you say, do you have the dignity to just say you're sorry?
続いてモレノ議員は50年以上も公職についていた人物が最終的にこのような不名誉な結末を迎えることになったと指摘し、最後に一度だけ機会を与えると述べました。そしてまともに謝罪するつもりはないのかと問いとどました。さらにワクチン未接種を理由に強制除隊させられた軍人たちに謝罪する気はあるのか、営業停止によって生活が崩壊した個人事業主たちに謝罪する気はあるのかと尋ねました。
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
So you won't apologize to the military members who Joe Biden summarily dismissed from the military for not taking the vaccine?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to the business owners that lost their business, shattered their lives, and they'll never recover?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to the moms who had to force their infant children, 2, 3, 4-year-olds, to put masks on, and what that did and how that traumatized those kids?
Under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize?
次に2歳や3歳の幼い子供にマスクをつけさせざるを得なかった親たちや、ワクチン接種後に追加接種、ブースターまで受けた人々にも言及し、オハイオ州の家族に対しても謝罪する気があるのか重ねて追及しました。ファウチ博士の回答は今回も変わることはありませんでした。最後にモレノ議員は憲法修正第5条を起草したジェームズ・マディソンこそがかつてこの地に住んでいた人物であると指摘しました。
Under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to the family members of the people who died because they took your advice and not only got the first vaccine, but the 5, 6 other boosters that they did not need?
To answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to that mom from Ohio for being arrested for watching a football game with her family?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
So you didn't know who wrote the Fifth Amendment. It's James Madison. Lived in this town. I can only wonder what he would think of somebody like you invoking his writings to shield culpability for the actions that you took. It's no secret why you have to hire the biggest dirtbag attorney on the planet because of what you did. I hope you're paying him well. And I hope that one way or the other, somewhere, sometime, you answer for your crimes.
議員は、あなたは今憲法を利用して回答から逃れているが、いつか必ずその責任を問われることになるだろうと述べて発言を締めくくりました。数年前、ファウチ氏の新型コロナ対策の下で人々が味わった不安を目の当たりにし、事業を捨てて政界へ飛び込んだモレノ議員。しかし、彼の一連の問いかけに対し、ファウチ博士は終始一言も発しませんでした。皆さんはどう思われますか？